Oh, hey, what's up, guys? It's Nightwing Way of Life Esports coming at you guys with another League of Legends video here to talk about the LCK Spring Split 2020 Finals preview, GenG Esports versus T1. I mean, nobody really doubted that it would be any other two teams in the finals. Obviously, these two teams' history goes all the way back. One goes into Samsung, literally Samsung, and then Samsung Galaxy. Then you also have, SKT's sister team. There's so much history here with these two orgs, and, I'm going to explain some stuff toward the end of the video that will be greatly beneficial to anybody who likes watching LCK content on here. But I'll save that for the end of the video because right now I obviously just want to preview the match going into this. So, obviously coming into this year, GenG wanted to win a title. They have won a world championship back in 2017. Crown, Ruler, QV, Ambition, Core JJ. And obviously, you guys know, a T1 has won 3 world championships. But fun fact is, GenG has never won a best of 5 in Korea. That still stands all the way up until this Saturday. Even when they were called Samsung, they have never, after basically when they were rebranded to Samsung Galaxy, they have never won a best of 5 after that. They've literally lost every single best of series in the playoffs since being called Samsung Galaxy. Because before that, it was Samsung White, Samsung Blue, and, they were just dominating everywhere. So, it's just not been that way. But for Samsung Galaxy, the curse leads over, and they still have not won a best of 5. But it's really interesting to me how they can win a world championship, but can't win a best of 5 in their own region. That's pretty weird. But last year, they tried to get Peanut. He wasn't really what they needed. Then they had Cockroach, because he was just a literal walking dumpster fire. So was QV, and I was like, okay, you guys gotta change this roster up. This Peanut roster is not working out. They ended up changing the roster. They actually get Clid and Rascal, and they keep Life in Keelan, if I have the names correct, and they have BDD now. And then obviously they perform really well. They do have some weird, sketchy games where they're not exactly doing proactive things, but Clid is still doing proactive things. So that's where I was actually giving them the benefit of the doubt, was that Clid is still really strong, and building around Clid and Ruler is also really strong. You got a chance to see how much Clid liked being on this team. Not saying he didn't like being on SKT. He did mention that they were a lot older than him, and he could obviously have more fun with GenG, and they were at the top of the standings, all split long. But they did lose to SKT. I keep saying SKT, they're called T1, but all the OG fans know they're called SKT. But yes, T1 definitely gave them a run for their money whenever they played, but they were incredibly close games. It was all decisive macro early game decisions that really did boil these two teams down to the wire. Now, T1, obviously last year when they had Clid, they lost to G2 at the MSI in 2019, and then they also lost to G2 at the 2019 World Championship. Obviously, they wanted to make changes again. They got rid of Mata, obviously. They got rid of Clid. They also got rid of their top laner, which was Khan. They all went to RNG, FPX, and then later on, Clid went to GenG. Then you also had them getting Cuz, who previously a lot of people remember from Dragon X, Kingzone, Longju Gaming. You guys know the story. Then you also have Roach. Roach was supposed to be in the roster, but during the Kespa Cup in 2020, when the season first started, before all this Rona stuff happened, they played Kana, and I really thought that Kana was actually pretty strong, seeing how he literally was just an insanely strong top laner. You saw it in him, and then I even said, since Kana played exactly how good he played in the Kespa Cup, then you get to see how strong he really is, and once you see Kana, you're not going to see Roach, and obviously we have not seen Roach. So Looking after that, Faker's still pretty strong. Arguably top 3 mid laner in the LCK. No one's going to really dispute that. Then you also have Teddy and Effort, who I think got a lot better since last year. They got a lot more synergy. Obviously, they were splitting time between Mata and Teddy, but at one point they did settle on Teddy and Effort for quite a bit of time anyway. Mata only had like 2 games anyway after a period of time where they obviously synergized better with Effort. I think it had to deal with Mata wanting the team to play a certain way. Effort was more submissive and kind of let the other guys run the team. That's how you're seeing it right now, but Effort, you can kind of tell, does a lot of their proactive early game making, which I really like that he's actually able to do that. I think he's a lot better than the supports on GenG, but they are not also bad either. So looking at this matchup, I think a lot of people are saying GenG win, T1 win. It's really hard, actually. They do have really strong things. I think that GenG have better drafting, and I think GenG have better objective control. I think T1 have better skirmishes, and I think T1 have better late game decision making, because a lot of the times T1 get into like late game decision making because sometimes the games drag out for a while, and you have Faker and you also have Cuz and Teddy, so they know how to win games from the late game perspective. Faker knows how to flank really well. He's been playing really strong on both weak side and the strong side for his mid lane counter picks and the picks that he normally gets anyway. Then you also have Ruler, but GenG's thing is that they're pretty much playing how TL invested all their resources into Double Lift. Obviously, GenG put a lot of resources into Ruler, but sometimes Clade can just get Rascal ahead too. It just depends on where they're actually going. So, time to go lane by lane. Let's do this. So, you have the top lane matchup in Kana, he's going to play over Roach, versus Rascal. I think Kana easily wins against him, but I do think a lot of people are kind of overrating Kana because during the split, though he did play really well, he didn't play to the extent that people are thinking. You know, people are thinking that he played like shy level. He kind of did and kind of didn't. It just depends on which game you actually watch. So I think he does beat Rascal. I don't think it's really that close, but I do want to say, don't overrate people until you actually see what they're fully capable of. Now, jungle matchup, Cuz versus Clid. That goes to Clid. Obviously, Cuz is very strong, but you still see Clid as just the better jungler. Pass better, effectively impacts the lanes more better. I think that Cuz is a beneficiary of what Faker is allowing him to do, because who doesn't want to have Faker on their team? Speaking of the mid lane matchup, you have BDD versus Faker. I think this is actually really even. BDD offers something like Niski does to Cloud9, you know? Like, he offers his lanes to be stronger by how much pressure he exactly exerts. Now, against Faker, that's obviously going to be a lot harder because Faker is really strong. He can absorb all that pressure, then give it back to you. So, that's going to be a problem there. So, that's actually pretty even. I think it really does depend on what actually goes on. I think Faker team fights better than BDD. I think BDD has a better laning phase than Faker. So it's going to be really hard to really judge what's going to really happen, because there's some games where BDD plays like Faker back in his prime, and then there's some days where Faker plays like he's running it down. So it literally just depends on what match they're given. But a lot of the times in the finals, Faker plays in a way that he just stomps the other guy. So you really want to make sure that whatever you're giving BDD, he's able to hold down Faker. Now, going with the bot lane, Teddy and Effort versus Ruler and, what's his name? Let me get it right here, because I think I forgot. Keelan or Life. So, whoever they choose to play, I think it's pretty much still T1 favored, but Ruler is also insanely strong. I think if you just did it through Ruler versus Teddy, they're pretty even. Teddy is better at certain things. Ruler is also better at certain things. I think Ruler is a better laner, but I think Teddy is a better team fighter and a better, let's say, decision-making ADC. I think a lot of what Ruler has to do is put out damage and be safe, while Teddy will throw himself into the team fight and obviously position in a certain way that puts him into a position where he obviously could get killed, but he tries to bait out all your cooldowns. He tries to bait your flash. He tries to get your flash, because he knows if he gets your summoners, he'll have his to flash forward aggressively. Ruler likes to play super aggressive too, and sometimes him and Keelan aren't really synergized, but if you play him in Life, it looks a lot better. But Teddy and Effort are better in terms of a bot lane, but it can depend on which champions you actually have. So, looking at this matchup, it's basically the narrative is, can SKT obviously win the third title. They won both last year, so this would be another title for them. And I think they'll have 10 LCK titles. That is ridiculous. I'm pretty sure they would have 10 LCK titles. Let me actually look that up. This would be GenG's first title since like 2014 when Samsung Blue won the championship. Let me look up SKT's championship. T1 LCK trophies, because it has to be a lot. Like, SKT has won a lot. It's just insane how many times they have actually won, you know? So let's see how many times they've actually won. They have actually won a total of... Hold on. It should be telling you how much. They've won 8 times. That's ridiculous. They have won 8 times. They are absolutely insane. They've won 8 times in the LCK, and they have 3 world championships, MSI and an IEM. This is definitely a team in which where you know for sure they're going to come in with their best foot forward. This is one of the most decorative organizations in League of Legends. And then you also have Samsung rebranded to GenG. They're trying to establish their dominance because this was put together as a super team to take down T1. Just like the narrative that KT was the super team in 2018. So who is my prediction? Who is going to be the new LCK king? Can GenG take down T1? And can T1 win their 9th title? Can they win their 9th title? So I'm going to predict GenG win 3-2. I think that they have the better macro sense. I think they have the more rational players to execute certain things, but it is going to be really hard. So if SKT T1 win, I'm not even surprised. But I gotta go with my boy Ruler. I want my boy Ruler to win. Hashtag GenG win. Let's do it, boys. But all you T1 fans out there should be proud of SKT or T1 or whatever you like to call them. They did play the split really, really well. So, last thing I want to go over for this video is I do plan on doing more LCK content. So I plan on doing a LCK 2020 summer split like recap and breakdown, because I wasn't obviously able to do it during the split, because when the whole like virus thing happened, I was overloaded with content. I had content from my main channel that I had to get over and do, and then since they pushed all these matchups back, what I was going to do for the LCK ended up getting stuffed because they ended up canceling it for like, you know, like 3 weeks or so. Then they brought it back online, obviously. Then they played so many games on one day that I would have to make my predictions like 2 days in advance. That also convolutes with the LCS and LEC, so it makes it a lot hard to do videos on that, and that has a lot of viewer base for that. And I'm not ever not trying to do content for the LCK. I love watching this stuff. Like, watching this region made me better when I was so shit at the game. So I'm definitely always invested into watching every single region. Now, I know I have not done LPL content in a while, and that's not because I don't want to. It's just that these guys play so many games. It's so hard to cover all this stuff, but I will be doing a LCK 2020 split break recap and a LCK 2020 playoff recap. So that way I can get you guys, along with this video, at least 3 LCK videos. I think I owe it to you guys for that, because I have not just had a chance to really do any LCK content, and you know, it's gotten through a lot of criticism, you know, this split. So obviously having my thoughts on breaking it down was actually something I wanted to do. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully that, you know, when the summer split rolls around, I'll be able to do more LCK content. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do it. I think I got some ideas lined up for it. But yeah, I'm always, you know, interested in doing different stuff. VOD reviews are coming. Just don't think just because you haven't seen them doesn't mean they're not coming. I'm always trying to do different things and have things ready for you guys. But yeah, hope my boys GenG win. And yeah, it'd be also nice to see a new title winner. Though it doesn't really matter because MSI is canceled. But hey, you know what I mean? A trophy's a trophy. Legacy's a legacy. Peace out, guys. I'm the Nightwing, and Way of Life Esports is signing out.
Hey, look at that. Look at that. No shit!
Hi there, guys! Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more stuff.
Yeah, thank you.